All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Cam Smith, and I have a special guest with me today on MSG Networks. It's Patrick Ewing week, and we got one of his greatest teammates alongside, and we're going to take in this Knicks and Pistons game back from Saturday, November 30th, 1991. And my guest is none other than the man, the heart, the passion, John Starks. John, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So, as I mentioned, man, this game for you guys was a part of a streak that you guys had going on. Now, coming into this game, you had already won 3 straight, and this was the 4th win that you got on the streak. And for you, this was your 2nd season with the Knicks. So, what was that like going on the streak, one, but also really finding your footing in the NBA because you had to work for everything that you got, brother?
Yeah, I was coming off the bench. I'm pretty sure I was coming off the bench during this time. Just getting the opportunity to come in and show my skills. Being with a great organization, obviously New York, and the history of the Knicks within this city and on the basketball scene. And for me, coming out of Oklahoma, being in a big city like New York, it was just incredible feeling. And plus playing with one of the greatest players ever in Patrick Ewing. And, that team was very solid. Just excited to be here, and be a part of it.
And we're getting a look at a young John Starks right there getting buckets. And this game was from about 8 days ago during that same season back on November 22nd. Look at can you still do that, John? I want to know if you still get up that high, bro.
Oh, no. In my dreams.
So you guys have been very familiar with the Pistons, man, and just their run as the bad boys. And during this season, they had some changes happening. Obviously, you started to see the change of the guard of what was going on in the NBA. But this was one of the moments in the 90s especially. And I got to get this out, and I want everybody to know this. I'm a Chicago guy. So I grew up doing those Knicks-Bulls rivalries, man. And one of the things that struck fear in my heart as a kid and made a lot of people in Chicago nervous was the talent and the toughness that you guys had for that Knicks team, man. What was special about not only this 91-92 season, but also just that run with the Knicks in your 8th season?
Well, Xavier came on board, for one thing. Obviously he was an established great in this game when he was with Seattle. And I can remember him and Oak doing some of those first practices. They had some clashes, because they had a little riff the year before. And now that you have Xavier on the team, these guys had to kind of get it out their system. So that first practice, it was something to behold if you was there. I wish we could have taken it because you're talking about Anthony Mason, Oak, Anthony Bonner, all these guys, they trying to prove themselves. And it was just like a clash of the Titans. And finally, they got it out their system and then they became good friends. And so that team was built strictly for defense and be physical, the physical play that we had. And that Riles wanted to kind of emulate the toughness of the city, and he wanted the team to be that way. And so we didn't enjoy those long 3-hour practices, let me tell you. But, for him working us that hard, it conditioned our mind to be mentally tough, and we all truly appreciate it.
I'm glad you brought it up, man, because we got to get to those practices that you guys are going through. I know it was just like, look, if you're not ready for the day, then you might as well leave out the gym because either somebody's going to go right at you, whether that's with their skills, or they're going to go at you with those fists or that kind of physicality, man.
Oh, yeah.
And that was what, made you guys, again, like you said, so respected around the league, but especially in New York City, because you guys embody what New York City is. And that's toughness, that's resilience, and making sure that you rep every single time you play ball.
Oh, no question. Obviously New York is a blue-collar city, and Riles wanted to represent the city with this team. And our mentality was just come out here every night and just, give 110% effort, no win or lose. And I think every player on that team gave that and gave their heart and soul to the city and to that team. And so, we wasn't short on heart. That's for sure. We had some tough guys on that team, and I appreciated every moment.
I love that you got the basketball in your hands too, man. You're making me want to move, man. What's that on the ball? What you got engraved on the ball, man?
That is Basketball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
That is the Basketball Hall of Fame. So I received this when I went up to the Basketball Hall of Fame. I believe that's when I got it.
And thinking about your career of you being an All-Star 94, being Sixth Man of the Year, doing that 96-97 season. So you for a guy that went undrafted in 88 out of Oklahoma State and grinded your way to get into the league, you get there and nobody really thought that you would be able to last this long, man. So that just kind of speaks to your toughness. And again, it just was meant to be for you to play in New York because you embodied everything that the city was to extend a very, very successful career.
Yeah, I think New Yorkers appreciated my journey to come to New York and, just come out the blue. And, a lot of success stories come out of this city and become successful because of the hard work and the tough mentality that it takes in order to make it in the city. And I think New Yorkers appreciate that, from me as well as my teammates, that we developed that tough mentality and we gave it everything we had every time we stepped out there on the court. And then, the fans, was truly lifting us up throughout some of those games. Even when we came out and didn't get off to a good start, the fans was into it, from the start. And, defense, you know what I mean? They appreciate that toughness and the way we played basketball.
Man, speaking of the fans chanting defense, I remember as a kid, again, those Knicks Bulls rivalries of like Derek Harper bringing the ball up past half court or yourself catching it on the wing, right? And that old organ playing, it was like ingrained in my head. And every time it played, I was like, uh-oh, something about to happen. Like the crowd's about to get into it. It's about to be crazy, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the beauty of New York, you know what I mean? The energy level. And, when Rouse got here, everything had to be first class. And, from what we ate, from where we stayed, how we traveled, because his mentality was if you felt good, you're gonna play good. You know what I mean? And so, it was just one of those special times and special moments during the 90s.
Nice. And getting into this game, man, Patrick Ewing, first 2 points of the ball game right there. What do you remember about this game in particular? As we mentioned, we talked about 8 days ago, you just beat Detroit in Detroit. Now you're back at the Garden to face the same Pistons team and Patrick Ewing, who had 45 this game and 10 rebounds. Like, he was on a tear. What do you remember about this specifically, this night of, what was going on?
Nothing. I'm watching it for the first time like you and the rest of the fans out there. And
that makes it even better.
I know. I would get in. Some of those memories would come back. I knew we had a good game this game right here. He was on the road, and obviously playing against a great Detroit Pistons team, a two-time world champion team. And, like you said, they was kind of on their way out at that time for dismantling the team. So it was a battle with them all the time. Joe Dumars, one of the greatest two guards to ever play this game too, with his toughness and his scoring prowess, and as well as his defensive, the way he can, play you from a defensive standpoint. He was always one of my toughest defenders, no matter when we played. He could be 90 years old and still be a great defender.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard stories about Joe Dumars and just how tough he was, but he was a guy that didn't do much talking. He just let his play do his talking.
Exactly. And he had some legendary battles with Michael, during those times. Obviously, when the Bad Boys was at their height, him and Michael faced off quite a bit. And Joe held his own.
Nice. We appreciate everybody rocking with us. Cam Smith, my man, John Stark. You can watch this on MSG Networks. If you got the MSG GO app, you can check it out there. We're watching a replay of the 1991-92 game between the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons back on November 30th. and it's Patrick Ewing week. So Pat had 45 and 10. And I believe he had 4 blocks too. Yeah, he had 4 blocks and 4 assists. So I don't know what Bill Laimbeer and those cats did to him when you guys played him back on November 22nd, 8 days before this one. But he was like, nah, I'm going on the tear tonight.
Well, you know what? He always looked forward to playing against Detroit for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Patrick loved the physical play, the battles, the toughness of the game. He excelled at that in every tough game because he was just a workman-like big man. You know what I mean? He liked to work. And I think that's just from his days in Georgetown, how John Thompson, practiced him and practiced him hard because he used to be first in the gym, get his work in, and after we get through with those 3-hour practice, he still gets shots up. So he just liked to work.
Yeah. I love that nickname too that he got at Georgetown, the Hoya Destroyer. I love that. I love that, man.
I used to, when I first got here, I knew him as Beast because he was named the Beast of the East. You know what I mean? So he used to always kid me. He said, all I hear is you talking about Beast. Like, give me the ball. So he's like, I can hear you in my sleep calling me Beast. So, that was our name for him.
We were talking about practices before this game got kicked off. And I read a story, and I want you to kind of break this down for me about that first couple of practices that you had with the Knicks. And the legend is that nobody really knew who you were, but everybody obviously knew who Patrick Ewing was. But you were like, I don't care if he's Patrick Ewing. You went up and tried to dunk on him. And Pat was like, hold on, who is this dude? And he sent you down to the floor. But I think that was like the start of the legend of John Starks in New York.
Yeah, that actually was at the end of training camp. And so that was the last day of them making cuts. And even though I had a great preseason, I wasn't sure if they was going to keep me or not. So I had to go into that last practice and let them know that I wanted to be here. And so I treated that as a playoff game. I came out on fire. I don't think I missed a shot the whole day. And it was an opportunity for me to really show the coaches that I wanted to be here. And it was a fast break. I had stole the ball, and Patrick had came down on my left side and say, okay, this is my opportunity to dunk on him. And so I went up to dunk on him, and I tell the story all the time. I forgot he was 7 foot that could jump. And he ended up catching my dunk, and I came down and twisted my knee. And at that time, I didn't know that if you hurt yourself and they put you on IR, that they couldn't cut you. And so it gave me a chance to stick around and get my opportunity. Actually, I was ready to come off IR, and I was telling everybody, man, I'm tired of this sitting on this bench, and I want to play. And they like, nah, man, just be quiet. Wait till after the deadline for you to get your money guarantee. I said, I don't care. Either play me or just let me go. And it so happened that night, the Fortons, I guess it was unfortunate for Trent Tucky, he ended up getting hurt. So I came off IR, and my first game was against Michael Jordan. So
wow.
Yeah. So that's when the battle started with me and him. So I was excited, you know what I mean, because I had studied this man for so long, even when he was in college and when I was in college and he was in the pros. I used to have my wife tape the games when I'm on the road, and I used to come back and watch the game and just like really study this man. And so the first time I got a chance to face him, I was like a kid in a candy store. So I was excited to play against him.
Nice. And shout out to your wife for taping the games, man, and being a rider for you to make sure that you were prepared, man. That's working as a team right there, man.
Exactly. They got us somewhere.
I hear that, man. What for you talked about with cats like Patrick, that he got up for certain teams. There were certain teams that you knew he was going to get busy on, like give him buckets. And Detroit was that team for Patrick. But for you, what was that team that really stood out where you either walked into that arena, especially on the road, where you knew it was like, all right, I'm about to get ready to get busy. I'm about to do my thing tonight.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland is like the punching bag back in those days. Cleveland was
they had a good team. They had Mark Price. They had Harp. They had Larry Nance. They had a good team. It's just that for some reason in that arena, and they was out in Richfield at the time, I just shot the ball well for whatever reason. I guess some arenas just fish your eye, and because they had darkness behind the rim, so the rim felt closer up to you. Unlike the United Center, where the rim it just like feel like a big arena. And even when they went downtown, I still shot well, no matter what. For whatever reason, I just played well there. I just love going to Cleveland, and it's probably Oak's mother's home cooking that we got every time we went there. That probably helped a little bit too.
Hey man, feed the soul, man. That's what food is, exactly. Man. That's how you get it going.
Exactly.
So we're still early on in the game, man, and obviously with this game happening in the Garden, you guys are playing against Detroit, and I think I've never seen John Sally shoot a jump shot in my life, and that's probably the first time watching this game that I saw him make one and make one off the glass too.
I can remember during training camp, and we was playing a game, and I was running on the fast break. That's when Patrick was on right there with that little shot right there.
Yeah.
But I was coming down on the fast break during training camp, and Mark Jackson, I didn't realize how great of a passer he was, and he had eyes in the back of his head. And literally, I was coming down. I didn't think he saw me, and all of a sudden the ball hit me dead in the face, and I was like, "Man, my bad. I didn't think you saw me." He's like, "I see everything. Keep your hands ready." So every time I ran down the break, I'm like this the whole time. You know what I mean? He was that great of a passer. He was amazing as a leader out there.
And speaking of Mark Jackson, man, this is a nice matchup between Mark and Isaiah Thomas, two of the best point guards that have ever played the game. And you got to mention these practices, man, because I'm sure they're legendary in so many ways. You have a first team and Patrick and Charles Oakley, Xavier McDaniel, Jared Wilkins, Mark Jackson. But then coming off the bench for this season, especially, you have yourself. You got Anthony Mason, Greg Anthony, and Kiki Vandeweghe was getting some burn there too. So,
Kiki,
I mean, what were those matchups like? And just seeing, as you mentioned about Mark, how he saw the floor, were there moments and days in practice where you just watched him for maybe, a certain series just to see what he saw, or at least try to see what he saw?
Yeah, well, Mark was a very intelligent point guard. You know what I mean? He didn't have the quickness like most point guards, but he was very good with his hands. And I always played the passing lanes very well. He made up for his deficiencies as far as with his speed, but his intelligence is what made him great as a player. And, understood the game, the nuances of the game. As you can see, he had long arms, but he was special in that way. So, during practice, we used to get up because we was playing against the first team, and we used to, had to push them, and that's what made them such a very solid first unit. You know what I mean? And made us an even better second unit because we was playing against those type of players in practice. All the time. Former all-star players. We was playing against that all the time in practice. So our level of confidence coming off the bench was very good.
There we go, baby. First man off the bench, picking up full court against Joe D, a young John Starks. I love the high top too, man. You gotta let the people know where he's going to get your haircut, man. That was the style back then, baby. Everybody that grew up in the '90s had a high top. Even I had one as a little kid.
Yeah, that would need a little bit touching up though. That's coming off the road and wasn't able to get to the barber.
Oh man. Well, for you, man, what was it like playing in the Garden? For this game in particular, it was close to 20,000. I believe it was like 19,000, just a little bit over 700 for this game. And we're gonna get to Orlando Warriors goggles in a little bit after your answer, because if you want to see something that epitomizes like old school basketball, and especially in the early '90s, just bring up pictures of Orlando Warriors in those goggles. But describe for the people that have never either been at a sporting event inside the Garden what that atmosphere and what that magic is like.
It's electric, in that arena. It's a very special arena. because you know every team that comes in there is going to give you their best, and you have to be up for that, and you have to be ready for that. You couldn't take any team lightly when they come in. I don't care what their record is at that time when they come in there, and so you had to be at the top of your game. And the fans knew that, and the fans made it that more exciting because they knew that they're gonna get great basketball. They're gonna get their money's worth when they came to the Garden from both teams, you know. And so we had to be ready for that when we stepped in there. And as many a nights where the fans just lift us up, you know, when we didn't have it, you know, the fight to, you know, get back in the game. We'd be down by 10, 20 points. They knew it wasn't no giving up. And the fight that they had inside of them put the fight inside of us, kept the fight inside of us, I should say. And so it was just electric night in and night out.
Man, speaking of fighting inside of you, man, I think the fans almost got their money's worth right there with Lambeer and John Sally with that hard foul on Pat. So again, like I think he always gave Detroit problems because they would do stuff like this to him and try and take him out. Yeah. This is the bad boy Pistons, but I mean, Pat was like, "Come on, Bill, like really, it's still the first quarter."
You know what? You know, I loved it because I knew it was gonna tick them off and it was gonna make them play that much harder. And so I loved when we played against Detroit because he was already hyped. And when you start like trying to play dirty against him on hard foul, that the ball's coming to him every time. He's like, "Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball." I'm like, "I'm coming to you, big fella. I'm coming to you."
And if you don't give him the ball, then you're sitting on the bench.
Oh, you know. I can remember doing our first when I first joined the Knicks and when I came in for preseason, and John McLeod was our coach, right? And John McLeod had this old thing on how he wants the guard to deliver the ball to the big man. So he wanted to get the ball, get down low, and like roll it in there to him so he could bend down and catch it. So Patrick caught a few of them, right? And then he talking about, "Man, well, I got my hand, you throw me the ball. If you throw me the ball like that again, it's gonna go out of bounds." And I'm trying to make the team, right? I'm trying to make the team. So I'm gonna do as the coach tell me to do. So I went in there, got down low, and rolled the ball into him. He looked at it go out of bounds. He said, I can't tell you what exactly he said, but it wasn't nice. He like, "Don't throw me the ball like that again." And next time he come down, I threw it to him on his hand. He said, "Give me the ball." And coach called me over. "Didn't I tell you what?" I said, "Hey, coach, Patrick wants the ball like this. I got to give it to him like this. What you want me to do?" He looked at Patrick. He said, "All right, give it to him like that." Okay. All right.
Hey, you got to keep your star happy, man. You got to keep your star happy.
You have to keep him happy.
But
for sure.
But then even for you, like, wait a minute. One, I'm trying to keep my job.
Exactly.
And two, I'm not trying to cause any rift between me and Pat Ewing. Like, everybody knows who he is. I'm still trying to make the team and establish my foot, man.
Exactly. And I told him that, right? He said, "I don't get him." I ain't gonna tell you what he said, but I don't care.
Hey, family network. MSG Network is a family network. We're gonna keep that. As we're winding down the first quarter again, we're watching the replay of the 1991-92 game, or the season game between the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons.
What would you look like a superhero, don't you?
Yo, I don't know.
I mean, he was cut up.
It was one of them things where when I was a kid and going to the local YMCA in Chicago, my mom tried to get me to wear goggles because I wore glasses as a kid. She tried to get me to wear goggles, and I'm like, "Mom, I'm not trying to get laughed off the court." Because the only dudes then, back in those days, that wore goggles that I can remember was Kareem, Orlando Woolridge, and Horace Grant. Those are the only three dudes that I remember wearing goggles. So I didn't want to do that. I'm like, no,
unless you was a big man. It wouldn't look right on you. They're like, "Man, get this nerd off the court."
Exactly. With my shirt tucked in and my shirt pulled all the way up.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Old school, super old school, man. So first quarter ending there. And it's been fun so far, man. For me, thinking about this situation of being able to have this conversation with John Starks, the dude that struck fear in my heart as a kid when the Bulls would play the Knicks, and me being a Chicago guy. I think the one thing that New York and Chicago have a lot in common is just one, the model, the town, the mindset of the people is blue collar, hard workers, making sure that you made it known that people knew where you were from. And so there's a lot of similarities between New York and Chicago, and I think the mutual respect is always there.
Yeah, oh, no question. Chicago is a great city. I really enjoy Chicago. I remember when I got traded there.
I remember that too. Yeah. I remember that too. That was a strange time. I gotta let you know.
Yeah, it was a strange time. And I remember when I got traded there, people was like, the newspaper was like, and everybody on TV, newscasters like, is they gonna boo him? Are they gonna cheer him? Or what is it gonna be? You know, when he comes out, you know, in the starting lineup. And Chicago showed a lot of respect. Let me tell you that. The fans showed a lot of respect. I can't say that much about Jerry Krause, but the fans showed a lot of respect, and I appreciate that from Chicago.
Hey man, we share the same thoughts on Jerry Krause, man. Well, especially if you watch the Last Dance documentary, you're like, what are you doing? How do you break that up?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
That's a different story, man. But let's get back to this game. It's the second quarter start, and okay, I was gonna say those goggles might be messing with Orlando Woolridge's eyes. That was the air ball, but he got fouled.
That was a foul. Yeah, he got fouled.
Kiki Vandeweghe coming in, man.
Yeah.
What did you like playing with Kiki, man? How was he out there on the court and in practice?
Kiki was real cool. He was a cool, laid-back California dude. That's what he was. Laid back, never got emotional. Just like, you know, everything's cool. You know what I mean? That Sunshine State mentality.
And I know Oak and Mace and X probably tried to, you know, start something with him, and they probably stopped because they knew Kiki wasn't going to do anything back.
No, Kiki was just laid back, man. He was just a laid back dude, and I'm not sure if Ralph liked that too much, that he was that laid back, but you know, he's been playing West Coast basketball, you know, the whole time, and so you know, he just had a different mentality. Obviously, you know, great scorer back in the day, especially when he was with Denver. You know, him and Alex English, they was putting up numbers back then. So, but Kiki was real cool. You know, I like Kiki a lot.
Nice. And we're seeing Greg Anthony into the game now for you guys. One of the guys that's a part of that bench, that strong bench that you had that season. Is it weird for you now watching his son Cole, and you know how elite he is as a player, and is arguably one of the top point guards, if not the top point guard, coming in the 2020 NBA draft?
Yeah, I remember Cole when he was young. He was always a tough little kid, you know, just like Greg. You know, Greg was, you know, about 6 foot, close to 6'1", but he was tough-minded, and Cole was the same way. Obviously, he's probably a better scorer and a better shooter than his dad.
Yeah, case in point, Greg just missed that pull-up, so case in point right
there. Plus he's left-handed anyway, so.
Right.
But Cole definitely, from a defensive standpoint, you know, Greg was right on point, you know what I mean, coming out of that UNLV system with Tark, and from a defensive standpoint, he was tough as nails.
All right, I got to give you this question, man. In their primes, who's winning one-on-one between Cole and Greg in their primes?
Greg probably would say him, but I'm gonna give it up to Cole.
Hey, Greg, if you're watching, man, John just speaking the truth, man. I agree with John. I think Cole will win that one-on-one battle too.
He'll probably agree with you too.
Getting a good look at the fans out here at the Garden, checking out the game, man.
Yeah, the great thing about the Garden, you had a lot of stars that came into the game. A lot of stars in the entertainment industry, sports, other sports that was happening around New York. You know, everybody was at the game. You know, that was the big ticket back in the 90s, come to a Knicks game. So, you know, it was fun. You know, it just added to the entertainment value what we did out there on the court.
Right. You were talking about how you were working with Pat to feed the post, and on that pass, you threw it to his hand. His hand was up.
Yeah.
You didn't throw it low. You threw it right to his hand.
Yeah, McLeod wasn't there, so that's easy to do now.
And we already know Riles was gonna say, "Hey, I don't care how you give him the ball, just give him the ball."
Give him the ball, exactly. So, he just had, Pat was just one of those true warriors that you love in a big man. You know what I mean? For the most of his career, he played with knee problems, but you would never know it. He would never cry about it. Sometimes he would come into games where he just got his knees drained, and we'd tell him, "We got it tonight, big fella." But he'll come out and put on that suit and come out there and play. Just that warrior mentality that he had.
Right. John Starks, one of the greatest Knicks in my opinion, especially one of the toughest Knicks of all time. All right, here on MSG Networks, and we're looking back at this game between the Pistons and the Knicks from November 30th, 1991. Bill Laimbeer with that bucket there. We appreciate everybody rocking with us. Definitely watch us on MSG Networks and also the MSG GO app. And we're in the second quarter now. You see Laimbeer and Pat down there battling for position.
That's what I'm talking about. I love that. I love that.
See that right there. That would be a tech in today's game. That would be a tech. I mean, you can't get that close in today's NBA with a referee. I'm surprised.
You watch some of those battles, the way these big guys had to come into the post and get position and all of that. Obviously it's not like that today. But the way these guys went at it, one another, today they call foul very quickly, obviously, because the game has changed so much. But it was fun to watch. You know what I mean? As a guard, we used to have to come across the lane and set a big pick on the big guys. And some big guys, you got to know how to set a pick. Yeah. And I used to tell Patrick, just kind of like move around. And so they keep their attention on you, because if they see you coming, believe me, you're going to get ran over, or you're going to get a forearm shiver. And some of those big guys like Duckworth, oh, man, I used to hate to go set picks on him. He like literally try to lift you off the floor. And so, you had to know how to come in there and set a pick on a big man. But when I catch him not looking, I used to go right here for that kidney. I didn't
right in the sweet spot.
I've been a few of them over.
Especially a cat like Kevin Duckworth, man. Because if you don't know the size of Kevin Duckworth when you see him in person, that's the only time that you can get a real feel of how big he is. Like, you can probably, somebody is going to Google right now Kevin Duckworth and look at how big he is, but it's different from reading it to actually seeing it. And it's not like he's a human being. He's definitely not a normal human.
Yeah. That's the same thing with Shaq. The same exact thing with Shaq. And Shaq was in shape when he first came in the league, and he was still big, at that time. And I can remember, first time we faced him in New York, and Patrick, I was guarding the ball. I think I was guarding Nick Anderson, and he was feeding the post to Shaq. I was feeding the post to Nick Anderson was feeding the post to Shaq. Hold on. We on defense. Yeah, feeding the post to Shaq. Okay, let me get this right. Feeding the post to Shaq, and I turned around. I'm like, "Who's guarding him?" Patrick. You can see his head come over his shoulder, like
you saw the high top fade. You saw
you see his head. He was a massive human being, one of the biggest dudes I ever saw play the game of basketball. He was in shape at that time. You know how he looked when he came out of college. He was slim and this and that. And Patrick, literally, I thought no one was on him at that time. So, he was amazing for his size.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, man, that you made sure that you got a good night's rest. You got a good dinner before the game, and
steak and potatoes.
Breakfast.
Steak and potatoes.
The go-to meal, man. The go-to meal.
Man, you hate seeing that, as a big man, like when guys are falling, especially big guys, and you got your back turned, and he fell right into the back of his leg. You know what I mean? You hate, especially Bill Laimbeer. Just
that's a lot of weight, man. A lot of weight.
Wow.
And that comes from, and that's a flop. That's a flop. So that's definitely a flop there. But then the flop ends up, he ends up hurting his own teammate, you know, with that flop. So.
Exactly. So whenever I was in the lane and I see big guys falling, man, I'm moving. I'm not even trying to stand there, you know.
Definitely, man.
Little old me, I'd probably be, both of my legs would probably be gone.
No, what's been some of your, or maybe one of your best memories of playing with Patrick during those years with the Knicks, man? As I mentioned, you guys had a great run. Obviously, we talked about the rivalry between the Knicks and the Bulls. You guys make the NBA Finals in '94. You've become an All-Star as a Knick. You were awarded Sixth Man of the Year as a Knick. So how was your game being raised by playing with Patrick Ewing?
Well, first off, you know, Patrick was the type of player where if he felt confident in you as a player, I can remember when Mark Jackson got traded, and Patrick is, you know, he's kind of superstitious a little bit, but plus if he trusts you a lot, you know what I mean, and I can remember Mark was always beside him, obviously, because he was the point guard, and so next year we come in, my locker was beside Patrick, so I like, I'm moving on up.
Right. Like somebody likes me. All right. Okay. All right.
Likes me, you know?
I'm doing all right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just because he trusts me so much, especially after on the course. I was always in his ear. And if you watch me, I'm always talking to him. You know what I mean? Because I came in this league as a point guard. So my mentality was like that in a sense. And so I was always in his ear telling him, you know, what to do. If I need to feed him the ball a certain way on how to set the man up, and I'm always in his ear, and I think he respected that. So he asked Mike Saunders to put me next to him, and so I used to always be in his ear, especially during halftime, talking about what we need to do the second half. And so the trust factor as well as the friendship grew so much. You know, obviously we're very close to this day, but you know, I think for me, coming in as a no-name player and to be able to develop a great friendship with a great player and a great person and a Hall of Famer, you know, and, you know, I felt great, you know what I mean, being that type of player that he could trust. And so it was a lot of fun just being on there. Look at me. I'm trying to get a quick.
There we go. You had 8 points this game. You had 8 points this game.
Okay.
And you averaged 13 on the season this year.
Yeah.
See that? Yeah, that's what Cole has better than
Patrick,
man.
I told Patrick, I like, man, come on, man. Kick the ball back out to me just a little bit. I want to shoot too, big fella. Let me shoot.
Okay, there we go. The ball got swung over to you, but you got to give it up now because Pat got.
Oh yeah, no, he's on. You know what? In this game, when a player get hot, you doing everything you can to get him the ball, no matter who it is. It can be the 12th man on the bench, and guys know if that player get hot, you just milk him. You just continue to milk him, and when Pat was hot like that, hey, it's coming to you. It's coming to you every single time. So.
He definitely had it working, man.
Left hand. He loved that.
Look at Kiki down there with the little sky.
I know, right?
And then no emotion. Like Kiki just ran back down the court, like he's just playing pickup in the summertime. Just like, all right, well, it's just 2 points. I'm running back. I got to play defense now.
Exactly.
Got Mace out there, man.
Oh,
I like this lineup right here with Mark, Mace, yourself, Kiki, and Pat.
Yeah.
I don't like that jump shot by Kiki, but still, I think he was feeling good. I think
he
was feeling good after the hook.
No, that's normally his shot. So I even said count it. I forgot he even missed the shot. So.
No, as we mentioned, man, with this game and you guys on this streak, you 3-game winning streak coming into this game. You beat Detroit 103-96. spoiler alert for anybody that didn't know the Knicks won this game, but you extend that streak, man. And for this season, I think one of the most impressive things about this season in particular was that this squad, talking about the mentality, the toughness, the defense that you had, you were the second best defensive team in the NBA, and you only allowed opponents to score, I think it was like 97 per game this season. So, I mean, it goes back to what you went through in practices, those experiences, how Riles coached you guys, and then the product is out there on the court.
Yeah, like I said, this team was built for defense. It wasn't more so built on the athleticism that you had to have in order to get up and down the court. Obviously, the guys that we had, Oak, Pat, X, and all these guys, it's more so that we're going to get you in a half-court game and we're going to execute. But defensively, that we had the mentality that we have to hold you underneath the 100 points. We feel like if we get you underneath the 100 points, we're going to win the majority of those games. So that was our mentality coming in. And, we were very successful this particular year in doing that.
You see Mark Jackson with that patented spin move, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, man. He created so much space on that spin move. And as soon as he turned, he saw everything, like you said.
Yeah, Mark, I didn't realize this. He played center in high school.
Really?
Yeah, at 6'3", 6'4", he played center in high school. So he was comfortable, putting his body on guys. He knew how to create space for himself. That's why he was such a good rebounder as a point guard. And, he just had that little teardrop, like you see all these guys shooting the teardrop now, but Mark was one of the first to really shoot the teardrop that I saw in the game. And so he knew how to get a shot off against anybody.
That's a great point, man. I think that Mark has been underrated, as you mentioned, of being one of those guys with the teardrop or a giant killer or that photo, whatever you want to call it. But he was one of the first guys doing that I can remember too. And it was a little unorthodox because it was almost like a lean in kind of floater. And it looked even more awkward because he had the white wristbands on too. So,
exactly.
But the most important thing, the ball went in the hoop. That's the most important thing.
Like I said, that's probably because he had to play center, in high school, and probably playing against bigger guys. So he had to develop that particular shot in order to get it over them, and he had a nice touch on it.
Second quarter of this game, as we mentioned, this is a flashback. Gerald Wilkins, you got to finish that, Gerald Wilkins. Come on, you got to finish.
Dougie, that was my guy right there. Dougie, great friend. You know what I mean? He took me underneath his wing, him and Trent Tucker, and taught me the ropes, especially here in New York. I remember Trent told me the first time I got here and I started having a little success. Started to get write-ups in the papers. Talk radio started to talk about me. And he said, John, let me tell you something. Whatever you do, don't read the newspaper and don't listen to the radio. And I kept that in mind, and I never did, read the newspaper or listen to talk radio because it gets, playing in your mind, and you go out there and you start thinking about what people are talking about. So for my whole career in New York, I never listened to talk radio and never read the newspaper. If I did get some information, the secondhand information that I got from either a family member or a friend, something like that, but not really like diving in and reading my press clippings.
Yeah, got you. John Starks, Cam Smith. Make sure you watch this game, this replay of the Knicks Pistons game from Saturday, November 30th, 1991. Watch that on MSG Networks and the MSG GO app. And thinking about man, I was 6 years old in 1991, man. But still, wow. I mean, you know this when you play basketball, like you're around the game at a young age. And there were like a lot of things that I remember just about that time, obviously with this Knicks team. And talking about Gerald Wilkins, and I have to throw this in. One thing about Gerald that I always was jealous of was he always kept his curl tight, even when he played. That curl was always tight. That box curl was always smooth. I don't know if he was using S curl or what, but it was always right.
Gerald, pretty boy, man. He was a pretty boy. Always dapper. You know what I mean? I always had his stuff very clean. You know,
he
liked to be sharp.
Yeah, he had to set himself apart from Dominique.
He did. You know, he represented very well.
You see that physicality down there with Patrick Ewing, man, on the block. But then you talk about how massive he is as a human being, and you see that right there on that play where he spins baseline a little off balance, but still just launches himself to the rim and finishes.
Yeah, Patrick, probably the first big man that I saw with a lot of touch, especially around, you know, obviously didn't play with. Even like that pass right there with Mark, I didn't know if he even saw Gerald over there, you know, but he just had great touch, you know what I mean? He used to, that's his move, put that body on. But, you know, he used to sit out there and shoot threes with us and toe for toe, you know, tick for tack, you know what I mean? He like knock down threes. That's what I'm talking about. See, he just knew body to body, and this is a bigger guy that's guarding.
Brad Sellers, right? Brad Sellers is 7 feet.
Yeah, 7 feet. He just had that canny knack of getting his body and being able to get the shot off. So that's what I think what made him so special.
I peeped you though, John, on that right wing when Marcus getting ready to penetrate. You had your hands ready.
Oh, I had
you had the hands. I saw you over there. I know you were ready, man. You were ready for that pass.
Exactly. Yeah, Mark used to take the battles with him and Isaiah very personal. You know what I'm saying? So he always wanted to play well against. There you go. Come on, give it here, money. Oh, come on. But he used to get up for Isaiah. That was one of the, you know, guards that he wanted to play very well against. Yeah.
And seeing you with that jump shot from the corner, man, what was your sweet spot on the floor? Like, what spot did you know if you got the ball in that spot, it was going to be money? Like, you might as well put 2 points or 3 points in the books for you.
I like shooting the ball, you know, from the corners that are right at the top of the key. You know what I mean? Like from a 3-point standpoint, you know, straight on. You know, that's the easiest shot. The hardest shot is to shoot from the corner because you're looking you're just looking at the basket. You know what I mean? At least, and when you're shooting straight on, you got the try to lay it. You have the backboard. You know what I mean? And you have some depth to it. So the hardest shot really for me was probably, you know, maybe shooting, you know, from the wing 3-point shot.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Because I know some guys might say like from the corner, because I see you there sliding over.
Come on now.
Getting that charge.
Exactly.
Looking at Pat Riley like, come on, Pat, you see me playing defense. Give me some more minutes out there, man. Come on.
You used to get money for that.
Really? Okay. All right. So there was a little monetary incentive.
No question.
I like that. Hey, because I mean, even you think about like youth basketball, coaches might give milkshakes out to kids that might take a charge or something like that. So I mean,
exactly.
Even you want to do it even more when you're getting a little cash.
Exactly.
I see you telling Joe Dumars you're a little too low, you're a little too short. I'm just gonna rise up above, man.
Mouse in the house.
I didn't know that you played point guard though before you got to
the
NBA.
When I broke into the league, I came in as a point guard. I started off for San Antonio during the summer, and Golden State picked me up, and I played point guard that entire year because we had Mitch Richmond, Terry Teagle at the 2, and that year we had Winston Garland, myself at the 1. So, but Patrick always told me that I didn't pass enough. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? I average about 4 or 5 assists a game. Where else you want me to Let me get a couple of more shots up. Try to give me about 10 shots a game.
Like, come on, Pat. Let me get off a little bit, man. Let me just, I can shoot the ball. I can knock it down, man.
I want to shoot too, big fella.
Right. See, I think you're ready to shoot right now. You got the ball in your hands. You can't hold it still. You're getting ready to get another shot off.
Always. Open up a whole can of worms when they put me at the 2.
Hey, that green light was turned on and it was never turned off.
No question.
Unless Pat said, "All right, John, that's enough. Give me the ball now, man."
He had told me that many a times when I got on a bad shooting streak. But you know what? The beauty of that team is that we could get on each other like that, and we could hold each other accountable, and it wasn't no hard feelings. You know what I mean? Because we all had one purpose, that's to win. And I could get on Patrick like that, and he can get on me like that, no matter what. You know what I mean? Because he knew I was out there, fighting to win. I knew he was out there fighting to win. So, you love those type of teams where you can just get on one another, push each other, and go, "Oh, come on, John, hit that." That's running out the shot.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that was money. I'm running down court instead of holding the phone. Come on.
Hey, man, but I got to show you love, man. You had 8 points. You had 3 assists in the game. And then the game prior to this, the last time you guys played Detroit, we saw the highlights as a lead into this one on the pregame show. Like, you had the dunk, you were getting it in. I think you had 20 points that night. So
yeah,
just one of those nights where it wasn't really falling. The shots look good though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing. I was
going to mention. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you talk about just the respect and the trust that you have with your teammates, and you guys going out and looking at each other in the eyes and knowing that you're fighting for each other. And that's where the brotherhood is formed. But also from the fan perspective, and I know a lot of people in New York City and the New York area fell in love with this team and just how you guys were fighting for each other and ultimately fighting for New York City.
Oh, no question. And that just starts from the top, and that's Coach Riley, and putting that attitude inside of us, and building this team to represent the city. I think that's what the appreciation came from, because they knew every night we was going to come out there and we was going to give our best every single night. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears when you come to play the New York Knicks, especially in Madison Square Garden. And the beautiful thing that we loved about the fans is they never say you guys, they always say we. like they're out there on the court playing with us. And they truly was, in a sense, that spirit was out there playing with us every time we stepped in Madison Square Garden. And so as a player, you appreciate that, knowing that the fans have that much love for you. Like that right there back in the day would have been a foul. Well, today would have been a foul.
Definitely.
Oh,
with the kick out.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate everybody rocking with us. Gerald Wilkins, again, that curl still stayed the same even while he was in the air flying. Like if Gerald Wilkins wanted to, I think he could have been a member of the R&B group God. I think if you put one of the Teddy Riley glasses on him, he could have been that fourth member of God.
Exactly.
But we truly appreciate everybody rocking with us for this first half of watching this replay, this flashback of the Knicks Pistons game from Saturday, November 30th, 1991. Patrick Ewing Week is on MSG Networks, and the Hoya Destroyer went crazy on the Pistons with 45 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks. John Starks, man, thank you so much. For a Chicago guy, always respected you, but this is fun, man. I really never imagined that I would be sitting down and having this conversation with John Starks. It's been fun.
Hey, been a pleasure, bro. And continued success to whatever you do in life, bro. You're doing a great job. So, this is fun looking back. It brings back old memories, old feelings, knowing that I was on such great New York Knicks teams.
Definitely, man, definitely. And you are cemented in New York City, but also cemented in basketball history as one of those guys, man, that brought us heart, that brought us passion, and every kind of ounce of strength and confidence and just bravado to the court. And that's why I think a lot of people have you etched in their brains as one of those guys that you do not want to play against.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We appreciate everybody rocking with us. Thanks for watching.